The song you are hearing right now is familiar and loved all over the world, even by millennials who were born years after the last time the song originally broadcasted. Recently, Netflix rent the rights for Friends for no less than $100 million, and that is for 1 year only. We are talking about a show that her last episode originally aired in 2004. But why? What makes the people come back again and again to watch Ross, Rachel, Monica, Chandler, and Joy and Phoebe living their lives? What is this show magic? This is the secret of Friends. This show is simply put sweet as candy. At the time the show aired, there was a giant comedy king in the city, Seinfeld. But while Seinfeld was cynical, sarcastic, and sometimes even evil,
Wait! Kramer, I'm with people.
Yeah, and thanks for inviting me.
I did invite you. Your invitation must have gotten lost in the mail.
Friends never did this. Sure, sometimes the characters can do a selfish deed here and there, but most of the time they care about each other, and the relationship feel a lot more realistic. Any one of us can name a Ross he knows, or a Monica or Chandler, but how many of us know a Kramer or George? I don't know about you, but I don't meet a lot of short, bald guys who dates a hot women and works in his favorite sport. It doesn't mean that those characters are bad. Frankly, I find Kramer a lot funnier than Rachel Green, for example.
By the way, you want a box of Cuban cigars? I smoked one last night. I got nauseous.
No, I don't want it. I'll take it. No, I'll take it. What is it?
Here you go.
Cigars?
Yeah, Cubans.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the kind that Castro smoked. You can't buy them anywhere.
Castro, huh? ¿Para qué quiero ir para allá?
No, you just tell them an old boyfriend's come back into your life.
I don't think so.
Nice try.
Took a shot.
It's a good cigar.
And it's not that Friends didn't have its fair share of surrealistic characters.
You're Estelle Leonard?
I know. You weren't expecting someone so fantastically beautiful.
My cats can't sleep.
You don't even have cats.
They could have cats.
Those characters could be in Seinfeld easily, but they were far and between. Also, I think that Seinfeld influenced comedy a lot more than Friends. Catchphrases like,
By the way, they're real and they're spectacular.
are still being used to this day. But while Netflix had to pay a $100 million to retain the rights for Friends for 1 year, Hulu paid $160 million for Seinfeld for 5 years at least. It means that Seinfeld now worth about a third of the worth of Friends. Another point under the characters is that the show stayed out of politics. No one can argue with messages like go for your dreams or love your friends more. The only thing that may be a bit controversial is Carol and Susan, the lesbian couple. But the choice to show gay females, something that the Bible not really forbids, and people usually take it better than gay males, was probably smart, especially for the time. Another good example is Chandler's dad, played fantastically by Kathleen Turner. The show didn't shove the viewer throat a moral progressive message, but instead showed Chandler, a very realistic and identifiable character, goes through the path of accepting that, well, this is his father now. He reacts like most of us would react, and eventually accepts him and even invites him to his wedding. Also, the show knew how to make tension, not only comedy. Ross and Rachel, Monica and Richard, Monica and Chandler, even Joey and Rachel. The show didn't simply tell us this is a couple, they love each other, deal with it, like most of comedy shows used to do. They showed us everything, the fights, the struggle, the lust of love. The show didn't afraid to be deep sometimes. Now let's go back to Seinfeld for comparison's sake. There's only one couple that we know from the group, Jerry and Elaine. I bet some of you didn't even know that. While most viewers don't need more than 1 or 2 scenes between Ross and Rachel to know what's going on with them, Seinfeld had to tell us with words that something ever happened between Jerry and Elaine, and they didn't do a lot with it too. I'm not saying this is bad, it's okay for this kind of show of pure comedy. A show about nothing, as the creator called it. On the other hand, Friends was a show, well, about friendship. They showed everything, not only in regard of dating and marriage, but also in regard of purely platonic relationships. The relationship between Chandler and Joey, for example, didn't get less attention than most of the romances, and it was good. I think that those were the points the show peaked. Because while in the romantic fights, like Ross and Rachel's famous fight,
Time was what you needed just to gain a little perspective.
We were on a break!
most of us picked a side. And of course, Ross is right. Come on, they were really on a break. And with reason, in the fights between Joey and Chandler, we couldn't. The fights were so realistic. A friend gets a bigger job, so he leaves the place that he lived. Or when a nice naive friend gave his friend an ugly jewelry and got upset that he didn't wear that. We can understand and identify with both of them. All that said, the show never gone full soap opera. Every time that the show became too serious, they threw in a joke.
Yes, I do. I really do. In fact, it's funny. Very often, someone who you wouldn't think could curl your toes might just be the one who
Hey.
gets interrupted.
As you can see, the jokes didn't really break the scenes. They simply made them a bit easier to swallow, like the show reminded us that is still a comedy. And that brings us to the last point, the comedy. This show is, simply put, hilarious. Not funnier than Seinfeld or some other shows, but didn't fall behind either. The show smartly combined comedy and drama in a way that no other show did again to this day. There is no other comedy show that people can feel that they know the characters personally. The show made us feel as we became the seventh friend, and that's what brings us to it every time.